So time for the formation lap. Oh no, Isaac's out already. Unbelievable. Rear wing damage. That's the end. And he hasn't even started yet. Oh, he's mortified. He's crying now. He's absolutely mortified. Okay, race start. Lando hold on to the lead. Max in the second. Piastri in third. Lap 1, there's a crash. It's the Alpine. Jack Doohan's out. Rear wing damage. Lap 2, Sainz hits the wall. He's out as well. Well, that was only 2 laps into the Grand Prix. Well, one thing's for certain. That's still 1,000 times more exciting than a Paddock 43 video. Mummy. Too soon? Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and yes, we are back for the new season. And oh my goodness, I've just suddenly remembered why I watched Formula 1 in the first place. What a Bobby Dazzler of a start to the season that was. I can't tell you how much the adrenaline was pumping from me watching that absolute circus unravel in front of us. Absolute circus. Now, of course, a lot of that was due to the wet conditions. Don't forget, back in 2002, it was Bernie Ecclestone that, because the races were getting a little bit boring at that point, that suggested that maybe we should have sprinklers on the circuit on every single Grand Prix. Everyone said, nah, no, Bernie, you're off your trolley. But when it comes down naturally, it bloody does work. And what a Grand Prix that was. Let's start off, before the Grand Prix even started, with Isaac Hajar, whatever you want to call him. I'm going to have to try and get the pronunciation right in future episodes. But yes, Isaac was off on the formation lap. Rear wing damage, absolute incredible scenes. I've not seen this since David Coulthard when he crashed on the formation lap back in 1995, if anyone remembers that far back. He was absolutely mortified. He was being consoled by, of course, Lewis Hamilton's dad, Anthony Hamilton. And it was just now... A lot of people I've seen in the comments have said, oh, what an absolute wuss, what a crybaby. But let's just put that into perspective, okay? Number one, he's very, very young. Now, just think back the last 3 months, okay? He's been testing. He's been training as well for this moment. This is his big moment, the start of your first Grand Prix in Formula 1. The expectation, the nerves, the stress levels must have been at maximum for poor Isaac. Now, this is not like you're just starting a new job, stacking shelves, or doing groceries, and you're on your first day and you forget to double bag the groceries. This is not that at all. This is like entirely different. This is the pinnacle of motorsport, Formula 1. You are expected from the off. Even if you're a rookie, I mean, there's no such thing as rookies really, because they've gone through the formulas, the lower formulas, the F2s, the F3s. So not really rookies, they're just rookies in Formula 1, but they know how to drive a car. So they're expected, even though they are very, very young, and there are 6 of them on the grid this year, which I think is fantastic, they are expected to be on it from the off. And poor Isaac, he's just on the formation lap, wet conditions, it was going to catch out most of the rookies, and it did catch out most of the rookies, and unfortunately he was out. He damaged the wing quite severely, so he couldn't carry on anyway, and he was absolutely inconsolable. He really was inconsolable. Now, I have heard in the commentary after the end of the race that unfortunately it seems that Isaac has a tendency to be a little bit like that, and that's just doesn't bode well for a career in Formula 1, because unless you've got that killer instinct, you're really not going to make it in Formula 1, unfortunately. I hope that isn't true, and I just hope that, it's just a little dip from Isaac, and he's going to come back from this a lot stronger. I'm pretty sure he's not going to crash on the formation lap again. I think he's going to make sure definitely that isn't going to happen again. So that's out of the way. And yeah, I wish him all the best, and I hope that in future he's going to absolutely shine. But as I say, just remember, he's very, I don't know how young he is. I think he's 18 years old, or 18 or 19. Just imagine that immense pressure. You've been sitting there training every single day. You've been testing as well, and it's your moment to shine. And in life, sometimes you only get one moment to shine. It was Andy Warhol that said way back when, you get 15 minutes of fame in life, and that's it. Once your 15 minutes have been used up, that's it for you, really. Now, of course, when you're a Formula 1 driver, you get a hell of a lot more than 15 minutes of fame. But, you know, it's still there that you've only got really a very short window to get the job done and to impress everyone. Because, you know, unfortunately now, team bosses, they watch what goes on. They see all this. Now, I'm pretty sure the team bosses that may be futurely employing Isaac would look at this and say, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing to worry about whatsoever. That's just a pure, you know, it was wet conditions, and, you know, so they brushed it off completely. It's whether that carries on into the future that then, you know, questions will be asked. But I hope it doesn't happen. I hope Isaac is going to be okay, because, as I say, you need to be very, very strong in Formula One. Just ask Max Verstappen. And so I hope he's okay. So yes, so the race started under the wet conditions. Lando was in pole position, of course. He led from the lead, and Max managed to sneak past Oscar's Pastry into second place, which meant that Pastry dropped down to third position. And on lap 1, we had a crash in the Alpine. Jack Doohan, one of the other rookies, don't forget, making his debut, the Australian, he was out as well. He crashed into the barrier, and his car was positioned back into the middle of the track again, but it was pretty much minus the whole of the rear wing, so he was out of the Grand Prix. That was still all on lap 1 this was happening, so it was all basically down to the wet conditions, and the drivers were having a really bad time of trying to keep those cars on the road, which of course they would be anyway. But even with intermediate tyres, don't forget those tyres are supposed to be able to grip the track so they don't spin out. They were having a horrible time just trying to keep those cars going in a straight line. But anyway, Jack Doohan was out on lap 2, and then of course the big wonder, Carlos Sainz on lap 2 hits the wall, and he was out as well. His debut at Williams was completely kiboshed after just 2 laps of the Grand Prix, so he didn't get a chance to shine, which I'm sure he will do in the future, but unfortunately, he was out. So it was up to Alex Albon, who did a remarkable job to take up the slack in the Williams. And I have to say that Williams was looking pretty impressive indeed. Then, of course, the safety car came in, and on lap 16, Kimi Antonelli, of course, driving in the Mercedes car, another new rookie for this year. He's only 18 years old, and he's been plonked in a Mercedes. Now, he has been at Mercedes for a very, very long time. The way he was talking after the race had finished, I think he's been there for about 7 or 8 years. So how young was he when he started? He must have been very young indeed, because he's only 18 now. But the way he was talking, it's like, I've been an old hand at Mercedes for donkey's years, decades I've been there. I don't think that's possible, but yeah, he's been there a few years now. He actually spun out on lap 16, but he did recover, but he did drop down to 13th place at one point. Then on lap 17, Max goes wide, and Piastri manages to get past him and goes into second position. Then we fast forward to lap 34, and unfortunately the old stalwart himself, Fernando Alonso, he hit the wall. His car was damaged, and unfortunately he was out as well. I don't know where Fernando would have finished if he'd have done the whole race. I think probably 8th, 9th or 10th, something like that. He wasn't doing too bad, but yes, unfortunately Alonso on lap 34, he hit the wall. The Aston Martins, well, you can't really say a lot during this race because it was very wet conditions. You can't really say about any of the cars and their performance levels, because the rain basically levels off any performances anyway. And with everything that was going on, it was very difficult to judge who was basically top dog. Well, apart from the front, of course, that is pretty obvious at the moment. It looks like McLaren have come out of the gate with a very, very good car indeed. But Max Verstappen is not very far behind. And any mistakes that the McLaren makes, and I'll get to that in a moment, any mistakes, and Maxi Boy is right there ready to pounce. Now, of course, things will only get better for that Red Bull car. If it's uncompetitive at the moment, it will actually catch up, because that's basically how Red Bull do it. They always seem to be able to develop and slowly get that car faster. So I don't think it'll be too long before Max and Red Bull manage to catch up. So this is the opportunity, the golden opportunity that McLaren need to get as many points as they can before the inevitable catch up a little bit later into the season. So Alonso was out. So also on lap 34, the safety car came in. Most of the field then stopped for dry tyres. Some going to the hard tyre, in fact. I thought it was a little bit strange because, when you've got a sort of damp and greasy circuit. The hard tyre really, it doesn't grip the circuit as much as sort of the soft tyre does. So I thought that was a little bit strange. But anyway, lap 41, the safety car came in, and the results after the safety car were Norris was in the lead, Piastri was in second place, and Max Verstappen was in third position. Then on lap 44, we had an absolutely killer pass from Yuki Tsunoda. Yes, he passed Charles Leclerc. Don't forget, in a Ferrari, Yuki is really giving the middle finger to the team bosses at Red Bull. He really is. He's absolutely driving the socks off that Racing Bulls car, whatever you want to call it this year. I can't even remember. He's driving the socks off it, and he's clearly telling everybody that it was a mistake that he wasn't put in that second Red Bull seat. And I have to say, from this performance, I have to agree. I think it was a mistake, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then also on lap 44, of course, we had basically the incident of the race. Yes, it started to rain even heavier. Both the McLarens went off. Lando Norris went off. He did manage to recover. Piastri also went off. Because he was sort of following Lando, he actually went off a lot further into the grass. And so he sort of just carried on going and trying to get out of that grass when you're on tyres that are not suitable for the track conditions at that moment is very, very difficult indeed. But he did manage, the scoreboard was saying that he was out, but he did manage to get that car going by basically crawling it out of there. The cheers from the crowd was absolutely amazing and great to see, and he did manage to carry on going again. And on lap 44 also, Lando came into the pits, so Max on lap 45 briefly went into the lead. So on lap 46, Lando made a very, very bold decision, or in fact, I should say congratulations to the team actually, because they got that strategy call just right, 100% perfect. In fact, Lando came in, he dropped down to 6th place, but he was on the right tyres and everybody else wasn't. So he had a huge advantage there. This was on lap 46. And yes, the rain started to come down on lap 46. Lando was on the right tyres. Max Verstappen was on slick tyres, which was not the right tyres. And so, of course, on lap 46, he had to pit for intermediate tyres. And on lap 47, we had Lewis Hamilton in the lead. Yes, I'm going to say that out loud. Lewis Hamilton on lap 47 was in the lead. Yes, Lulu! There is a very nice video on YouTube, I think it's from Formula One themselves, where they're going through all the radio messages from Lewis Hamilton during that race. And I have to say, he does come across as a whiny little bitch, but that's Lulu, and I love him for it. I do. It was a little bit misleading because I saw all those radio messages before I saw the race. And when I saw the race, obviously those radio messages are all scattered throughout the race, so it doesn't sound too bad. But when you put them together in one big sound bite, it just sounds like Lewis is just throwing his toys out the pram. Leave me alone, I'm busy. I know how to operate DRS, I'm a bloody world champion 7 times. What do you think I'm doing? I know how to put that bloody DRS switch on, for God's sake. Leave me alone, I'm busy. But yeah, when you spread it out a bit, it wasn't as bad as this radio commentary was that I saw on YouTube. It really did make him sound really bad. And don't forget, of course, he's had Bono, for I think, is it 12 years? Very long time. Might be a decade, I don't know. Very long time he's had Bono. And now he's got a new engineer who, quite frankly, I don't think he's got a clue. He really hasn't. Some of the radio calls were just bizarre. And Ferrari, once again, seemed to be doing what Ferrari have been doing the last few years. Very, very slow to react to anything that's going on. Everyone else is pitting straight away when they need to. Ferrari's sort of, it's like, whenever something happens, Ferrari's got, hang on, I've just got to turn my computer off and put it back on again before they react. There's like this 5-minute delay while their PC restarts in their heads. That's what Ferrari seems to be. I just don't get it. They're a top team. They should be able to react a lot quicker than what they do. As I say, it's like, hang on, PC, I'll be there in a minute. PC's restarted. Yeah, PC. Very bizarre indeed. But anyway, so Lewis then pits on lap 48 for the Inters, so of course he loses his lead because of course the safety car came out at lap 47 as well. Then on lap 51 the safety car came in and the order of the day was Lando Norris, second was Max Verstappen, and third was George of the Russell. Yes. Then on lap 57 it was the race finish because of course they had to do one extra lap because they did an extra formation lap. And there you go. That was the end of a quite superb start to the season at Australia. That was a Bobby Dazzler, and I was very thrilled indeed. But before I go, I just want to rewind actually to lap 47, because on lap 47, I want to do a special segment for this. Liam Lawson was out in the Red Bull car, the sister car, of course, to Max Verstappen. I have to say, all weekend, Liam Lawson, he hasn't looked on it whatsoever. And of course, another one of the rookies, and joining him going out on that same lap was Gabriele Bortolelli, of course, in the Sauber car. So yes, I think that's 4 of the rookies didn't actually make it until the end of the race. But Liam Lawson, he seems to have adopted Sergio Perez's vibes from last year, because I think Sergio Perez would probably have done exactly the same thing. I've actually said last year that I didn't think Sergio Perez was the problem. I mean, the problem is pretty obvious. They put all their resources into Max Verstappen and basically leave the second car to just get on with it themselves, which, you know, leaves them in quite a strife when it goes to development on the car, setups and stuff like that. And I just got this horrible vibe thinking that I don't think Liam Lawson is going to do much in that car at all. And that's going to be a shame, because they've obviously put all their faith in him. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, hopefully I was wrong. It was just only one race, of course. So hopefully he will come back and be very, very strong. But at the moment, Liam Lawson is coming out to be very disappointing as far as I'm concerned. So let's go then to the final race results and see where everyone finished. So first place, of course, went to Lando Norris. 25 points, of course, for him. And second was Maxi Boy Verstappen. I mean, in the end, he was less than a second behind him. So as I say, you know, it won't be long before they're going to catch up. George Russell, very good performance in third position in that Mercedes car. That Mercedes looked pretty decent, I have to say. Pretty decent. So there you go. And in fourth place, it's Andrea Kimi Antonelli, the first of the rookies, I do believe. Yeah, the first of the rookies. And of course, he had some problems during that race, but he managed to come back and just finish behind George Russell. So well done for him. 12 points. 18 years old, that kid is. 18 years old in a Mercedes car. You could say, yeah, but he's in a good car. That's fair enough. That's fair criticism. But look at what happened to everyone else. And he still managed to get there and get into fourth place and get 12 points. Fifth position. Now, Alexander Albon was in fourth, but unfortunately he got a 5-second penalty at the end, so he dropped down to fifth place. But yes, Alexander Albon did very well in the Williams Mercedes, and if that's the performance level of that car, I actually said in one of my live streams, I think a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I said that I was hoping that the Williams were going to be up there fighting sort of, you know, the top of the middle section of the field. And it looks like if that form continues, and I hope Carlos Sainz will be able to show his true form next week in China, if that happens, then the Williams are looking very good indeed, and that makes me very happy. So Alexander Albon in fifth place, he got 10 points. Lance Stroll, everyone, yes, now that surprised me. But there he is in sixth place, 8 points in the Aston Martin. Of course, very difficult to judge the performance level of the Aston because of the wet conditions, so we don't know where that car is. But well done to Lance for getting sixth place. And Nico Hülkenberg in the Kick Sauber Ferrari. I'll tell you what. This deserves this. Well done, Nico Hülkenberg, for getting 6 points in that Kick Sauber Ferrari. And all I can say is, Guan Yu Zhou, Valtteri Bottas, shame on you. Shame on you. You couldn't even get a point out of that car last year. You couldn't even get one single... Or did they? They might have got a point. I can't remember. But they didn't get 6 points, did they? And so Kick Sauber are currently currently above Ferrari. Yes, I'm going to say that again because I like it so much. Kick Sauber are currently above Ferrari. Unbelievable scenes. Yes, unbelievable scenes, but it's true. It won't last, but let's just revel in that glory. Now, it's only been, 3 or 4 months since the end of the last season, so they've only had 3 or 4 months to develop that car, and basically it's pretty much the same car as last year, so they haven't really done much to it. But out of the gate, Nico Hülkenberg, the super sub, of course, who's done lots of substitution for other teams over the years, has come in and put it in some. Now, of course, you can say, yeah, wet conditions, lots of things happening, otherwise he wouldn't. Yes, I agree with you. But the most important thing to remember is the bloke that crosses the line and gets points is the bloke that crosses the line and gets points. You can't take that away from him. So well done to Nico Hülkenberg for getting those 6 World Championship points. In 8th place, it's Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. He gets 4 points. 9th was Oscar's Pastry. He did manage to crawl back up again after that horrendous time trying to get out of the grass. So well done to Oscar for managing to get 2 points out of that disastrous race. And Lewis Hamilton finished in 10th place for the Ferrari. Not much you can say about that for Lulu. I mean, he said he's still getting to grips with the car. I can believe that. It is a totally different car from the Mercedes. It's got different. He was complaining about torque levels and stuff like that. So it is completely different. So he's still getting to grips with it. Understandable. And of course, with the conditions as well, we can't really judge anything about that. We need to be 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 rounds in before we can judge any kind of performance level from Lewis Hamilton. And don't forget, he's only 2 places behind Charles Leclerc. It's not like Charles is in 8th and Lewis finished in 15th. So yeah, we'll reserve judgment and see what happens. 11th place, it was Pierre Gasly, sadly, in the Alpine, just outside the World Championship points. But a pretty decent race for Pierre Gasly, has to be said. And poor Yuki Tsunoda. He got right up there, I think, into 2nd or 3rd place at one point when the McLarens were having problems. Oh my God. But unfortunately, 12th position. No points of him, but a great race from Yuki Tsunoda. As I say, once again, sticking the middle finger up to say, look, I can do this. And we will see what happens as the season develops. 13th place for Esteban Ocon in the first of the Haas Ferrari cars. And in 14th place, it was Oliver Bearman, of course, in the sister Ferrari, which meant that everyone else did not finish. And 4 of those that did not finish were, of course, the 6 rookies from this season. And that is Liam Lawson in the racing Red Bull Racing Honda, Gabriel Bortoleto in the Sauber Ferrari. We can't count Fernando Alonso, he's definitely not a rookie, but he was out as well. Carlos Sainz was also out, but Jack Doohan in the Alpine was also the other rookie. And Isaac Hajar, of course, didn't make it past the formation lap, which was, yes, very disappointing. But as I say, let's just calm down and give him a chance because he's very young and, hopefully he will bounce back from that. Well, there you go. That was a quite unbelievable Australian Grand Prix. Now, I've campaigned for years to have Australia back on the calendar for the first race, and I think it's justified now because that was absolutely brilliant. I don't know whether it's a combination of the fact that most of them are tired because of the different time zone, so they're sort of falling asleep at the wheel. I don't know, but Australia just seems to produce a very good race when it's the first race of the season, and it certainly hasn't disappointed for F1 75 in 2025. It really hasn't. That was a great race, and I kind of got a little bit excited there. Yes. Hopefully it will calm down and, everything will go back to normal in the next few races. But yes, that was a damn good race. You let me know in the comments what you thought of the race. I've already seen quite a few comments and everyone said, oh my God. And oh my God is right, because it was very good indeed. For a rating, I'd have to give it 8 out of 10. And that's a good 8 out of 10. Definitely a good 8 out of 10. I mean, for a complete classic race, I'd have to go for Spa 98, which I'd always give that 10 out of 10 because of what happened with the crashes and what have you. And I did like at the beginning of the commentary where Steve Jones of Channel 4 said about to David Coulthard, "You're the master in the wet," and I thought, really? Does he not remember 1998? Because he certainly wasn't a master in the wet then, was he? Although he always said it was never his fault. No, it was Eddie Irvine's. Yes, Eddie Irvine's fault, not his. Nobody believed that, though. Nobody believed that. But yeah, so I'm not quite sure that he was the master of the wet. But anyway, we'll reserve judgment for that. So that is the results of the first round of the season. And we've got just 7 days now before China. Now, China, if it's dry, it's not a very difficult circuit. So that should give some of these young hotshots a chance to really shine. I'm hoping that Isaac is going to be really, really good in the Chinese Grand Prix. We've got Jack Doohan, who didn't manage to shine at all. We also want to see how Carlos is doing in that Williams. I think he's going to be a lot better. Well, obviously, because he's not going to crash out, hopefully. Fernando Alonso, we still can't tell where his performance level is either, because he actually didn't finish as well. And Gabriel Bortoleto. Now, he is the most experienced rookie out there. I've done a little bit of research on this, and he's a multiple winner, I think, of the F2 championship or the F3. So anyway, he's got the most experience. It's just a shame he's been dumped in a Kick Sauber Ferrari, to be honest. He would have been better to go in, dare I say it, the Red Bull as a partner to Max Verstappen. I would have put Bortoleto with Maxi Boy, but that's just me. So it's just a shame that he's in supposedly the worst car on the grid. We still don't know how it's going to pan out. But yeah, I'm hoping that Bortoleto is one that I'm looking at to see whether his performances are going to improve. Of course, we didn't know for this race because he didn't finish. But yeah, we will see what happens. I'll say he's the most experienced out of the rookies. So who is the best rookie out of the 6? Well, you've got to give it to Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes, because he actually got points. Yes. 4th place in the Mercedes, would have been 5th, but of course he got that 5-second penalty for Alexander Albon. He got 4th place, so well done to Andrea Kimi Antonelli, 18 years old. Just imagine that, everyone out there. 18 years old, first Grand Prix in a Mercedes, and he's put it there in 4th place. I mean, that deserves a round of applause on its own, especially with everything else that was going on during that race. It was just crazy, absolutely crazy. So yeah, well done to Kimi Antonelli. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, everyone. You have been awesome as always. Let me know in the comments what you felt about the race, and I will catch you in the next video.